No one rejected the Alpha King. No one. Not warriors. Not council wolves. Not even the Lunas chosen by prophecy. But she did. Aurelia, quiet, sharp-eyed, power-laced Aurelia, looked the Alpha King in the face during the sacred blood-binding ritual, and said one word that shattered an empire. No. Gasps erupted. Wolves fell to their knees in shock. The moon itself flickered in disbelief, dimming over the ceremonial grounds. And the Alpha King, Ken Vila, feared across 3 kingdoms, stood frozen, unable to process the rejection burning through the mate bond. Rejection wasn't supposed to be possible for a fated pair. Yet she had torn the bond apart with nothing but will. Worse, she didn't run, didn't cry, didn't beg. She lifted her chin, met his burning golden eyes, and walked away. By morning, rumors swept the realm. The girl who denied the Alpha King had vanished. And the rogue packs had crowned her their queen. Now the man who could command armies with a single breath faced the one fate he couldn't control. The mate who rejected him. And the queen who no longer needed him. If you've ever wanted to watch an Alpha King lose the one thing his power could never claim, stay with this story. When Cairn discovers what Aurelia truly is, and why she rejected him, his throne, his laws, even his heart won't survive the truth. Drop Rogue Queen's Rise in the comments and subscribe before the next twist hits. Aurelia had never belonged anywhere, not to a pack, not to a bloodline, not even to the moon that ruled every wolf. She lived on the borders between territories, moving silently, unnoticed, surviving on instinct and the strange, unpredictable magic that thrummed inside her veins. She was not a wolf. Not entirely. But not human either. Some nights her senses sharpened so keenly she could hear heartbeats across rivers. Other nights she felt the moon tugging at her blood like a forgotten song she almost remembered. She avoided wolves for that reason, they sensed her difference, and difference always invited danger. Then the Alpha King found her. Ken Vila was searching for the woman destiny had whispered into his blood since childhood, a mate powerful enough to stand beside a king, fierce enough to steady him, destined enough to save or doom the empire. When his patrol caught Aurelia trespassing on sacred lands near the capital, they brought her to him in chains. Her strange aura, her half-wolf scent, her refusal to bow, it intrigued him, angered him, consumed him. The bond snapped the moment he touched her. A lightning strike. A revelation. A promise written in both their bones. But Aurelia did not want a throne. Did not want a king. Did not want a bond forged by prophecy rather than choice. So when Cairn stood before her at the ritual altar, holding out his hand, the moon glowing behind him like a crown, she rejected him. And something ancient inside her broke free. The bond shattered. The moon screamed. Aurelia vanished into the night. Now she sits on a throne made of rebellion and freedom, crowned by rogues who follow no laws but their own. And the Alpha King who once believed no one could ever defy him, must face the one woman strong enough to stand alone. The night Aurelia rejected the Alpha King, the capital city did not sleep. The moon hung heavy over Vila's sky, glowing unnaturally pale, as if stunned by what had happened only hours earlier. The ceremonial square, once filled with thousands of wolves chanting the king's name, now lay eerily silent. Torches sputtered. Banners drooped. The marble beneath the altar still held the faint scorch marks from the moment the sacred bond shattered. Wolves whispered her name like a curse. Or a prophecy. No one knew which. Aurelia. The girl who said no. The girl who walked away. The girl the moon did not punish. The girl the Alpha King could not claim. Aurelia ran through the forests bordering the capital, her bare feet barely touching the earth. The cold wind slapped her cheeks, carrying the scent of pine, frost, and the faint metallic tang of power she still didn't understand. Her chest ached, not from exertion, but from the bond. The bond she had broken. She hadn't known it would feel like this. Like ripping a thread from her soul. Like swallowing fire. Like telling destiny itself, I choose freedom over fate. But she did not regret it. Not even when her vision blurred. Not even when her magic trembled. Not even when her heart whispered his name with every breath. Ken. She silenced it. Freedom required silence. Behind her, wolf howls rose in the distance, not hunting howls, not angry ones. Conflicted. Confused. As if the entire kingdom was trying to understand how the impossible had happened. No one rejected the Alpha King. No one survived it. Yet she did. Her breath fogged as she crossed into the rogue lands, a wild, lawless expanse untouched by the Empire. Here, no king reigned. No council ruled. No tradition held weight. The moonlight dimmed behind thick clouds as Aurelia stumbled down a slope and braced herself against a fallen tree, exhaustion flooding her limbs. She sank to her knees, pressing a hand to her chest. The bond still pulsed. Barely. Weakly. But alive. She whispered through clenched teeth, I said no. Let me go. The magic inside her, the strange half-wolf, half-something else force living in her blood, answered with a tremor. Resistance. Grief. And something that felt perilously like hope. Aurelia didn't have time to unravel it. The branches around her rustled. Shadows moved. Then. A figure stepped out of the darkness. He wasn't alone. A dozen rogues emerged behind him, their glowing eyes tracking her movements. They wore mismatched armor, pelts, scars like badges of honor. Rogue wolves were unpredictable. Untamed. Dangerous. Aurelia stood slowly, refusing to show fear. The leader, tall, broad-shouldered, with wild amber eyes, studied her, head tilted. You're far from the king's velvet palace, little moon. His voice was a low rumble. Did you lose your way? No, Aurelia said. I left it. The rogues chuckled darkly. The leader stepped closer. Left. Wolves don't leave the Alpha King unless they stop breathing. Aurelia lifted her chin. Then consider me the first exception. Something flashed in the rogue's eyes, interest, amusement, then something darker. What's your name? He asked. Aurelia. He froze. The rogues stilled. Whispers rippled through them like a gust of winter wind. Aurelia. The one from the ritual. She rejected Kenvila. No one rejects fate. She did. The leader's lips parted in a slow, feral grin. Well. Fate just got interesting. Before Aurelia could respond, a new sound echoed through the forest. Wolves. Not rogue wolves. Royal wolves. Large. Fast. Closing in. The Alpha King's trackers. Aurelia's pulse spiked. The rogue leader's grin widened. Seems your little rebellion has teeth. Aurelia reached for her magic instinctively. Her palm glowed faintly, silver threading beneath her skin, an ancient power stirring again. The rogues stepped back. The leader raised both hands, palms open. Easy, little moon. I didn't come to fight. Then why are you here? Aurelia asked. He smirked. To see the girl who broke a king. Branches cracked behind them, closer now. The rogues tensed. The leader leaned in, lowering his voice. But if you want to live, if you want to stay free, if you want to remain the girl who defied an empire, come with us. Aurelia's breath hitched. Why should I trust you? She asked. The rogue's grin softened, not kind, but honest. Because we don't serve kings. We serve ourselves. And a girl who rejected the Alpha King. That makes you one of us. The bond inside her throbbed painfully, Cairn's distant anger, disbelief, and something far more dangerous. He was coming for her. Aurelia clenched her fists. I don't want a king. I don't want a mate. I want my freedom. Then, the rogue said, extending a hand, let me show you how queens rise without crowns. Aurelia hesitated. 1 heartbeat. 2. The royal wolf's howls grew louder. And Aurelia made her choice. She took the rogue's hand. The moment she touched him, silver light flickered beneath her skin again, reacting, awakening, recognizing the shift of destiny. The rogue blinked. What? Aurelia pulled her hand back. Don't ask. I don't know either. He didn't push. He simply turned and barked, move. Before the king's dogs catch our moon girl. Rogues scattered, surrounding her, shielding her, guiding her deeper into their territory. Aurelia ran with them. Not because she trusted them, but because she trusted herself. For the first time in her life. Behind her, the Alpha King's howl ripped through the night, raw, furious, and heartbreakingly wounded. Her body trembled at the sound. Her magic surged. Her heart whispered his name. But Aurelia didn't look back. She stepped into the darkness of rogue lands. And fate crowned her in silence. A queen not by blood. Not by throne. But by defiance. The rogue camp was nothing like Aurelia expected. Hidden deep within a ravine carved by centuries of moonstorms, the encampment sprawled like a living organism, fires glowing red through the night, tents stitched with mismatched hides, makeshift watchtowers rising from stone. The scent of wild wolves and smoked meat mixed in the air. Laughter echoed in pockets, growls erupted between sparring wolves. It was chaos. But not cruel. Not oppressive. Not ruled by fear. Aurelia stepped into the heart of the camp with her spine straight, though exhaustion tugged at her limbs. The rogue leader, who finally introduced himself as Kale, walked beside her, every wolf in the camp turning to stare. The girl who rejected the Alpha King, someone whispered. She walked away from fate itself, another said. She must be insane, a third muttered. No, Kale corrected with a smirk. She's interesting. Aurelia wasn't sure whether to be flattered or annoyed. Kale led her toward the central fire pit, motioning for her to sit. Rogues gathered in a loose ring, curious. Suspicious. Hungry for a story. Aurelia lowered herself onto a log, palms resting on her knees. Kale dropped down opposite her, chin propped on his hand like a man watching a rare creature unfold its wings. What do you want from me? Aurelia asked him bluntly. Kale shrugged. Want? Nothing. His eyes gleamed. But the rogues want hope. And you just handed it to them. She frowned. By rejecting Ken. Kale's grin widened. No one rejects the Alpha King. But you? You didn't just reject him. You survived it. Do you know what that means to wolves like us? Aurelia didn't answer. Kale gestured to the camp. We are the unwanted. The outcasts. The wolves who refused kings, or were refused by them. And then you, tiny, half-wolf girl with strange magic, looked the King of Kings in the face and said no. You proved something none of us dared believe. That fate can be defied, Aurelia murmured. Kale nodded slowly. Exactly. The fire crackled between them, sparks dancing upward like embers searching for the moon. Aurelia felt a pull behind her ribs. Not from Kale. From far beyond the ravine. From the capital. From him. The bond, though broken by her rejection, still twitched, weak but undeniable. A faint ache in her heartbeat. A tug in her breath. A whisper along her magic. Ken was furious. Ken was searching. Ken was hurting. Aurelia clenched her fists. Don't think about him. Don't feel him. But the bond was a stubborn wound, it refused to close cleanly, refused to die easily. Aurelia. Cale's voice pulled her back to the present. His expression had softened, not mockingly, but with recognition. You feel him, don't you? He asked quietly. Aurelia stiffened. I don't want to. That's not what I asked. She didn't answer. Cale leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees. The moon doesn't care what we want. But power. Power listens. Power obeys choice. Aurelia studied him. Are you saying I have power? He huffed to laugh. You melted rocks when we held your hand. Let's not pretend. A flash of heat rippled beneath her skin, her magic stirring in response. It hadn't stopped trembling since she left the ritual grounds. It felt like a beast uncurling from sleep. Aurelia swallowed. What am I? Cale grinned slowly. We were hoping you'd tell us. Before she could respond, a howl split the night. Rogues shot to their feet. Weapons drawn. Eyes glowing. Fur bristling. Aurelia's blood ran cold. She knew that howl. Knew it in her bones. Knew it in her magic. Knew it in the bond she tried to sever. The Alpha King had found them. Cale cursed. Ken Vila himself. Here. That man moves too fast. Aurelia stood, heart slamming into her ribs. He shouldn't be here. Cale raised a brow. Then why does he sound like he's dying for you? Aurelia's breath hitched. It was true. The howl wasn't a war cry. It wasn't a threat. And you, his voice thickened. You were the first person in my life who ever looked at me and saw a man before a king. Something inside her trembled. Not magic. Not fear. Recognition. She stepped back before she could fall into him. You still didn't give me a choice. Ken opened his eyes, pain glowing gold. You're right. He said it without defense. Without pride. Aurelia blinked. She hadn't expected an Alpha King to admit fault. Let alone this Alpha King. I didn't give you time, Ken murmured. I didn't give myself time either. When the bond snapped into place, it felt like the first breath after drowning. I acted, as a king, not as your mate. Aurelia's throat tightened. Silence stretched. Then Ken did the unthinkable. He knelt. Aurelia gasped. Ken. I cannot change fate, he said softly. But I can offer what I should have given you from the beginning. He lowered his head. My choice, he whispered. I choose you. Not because the moon demands it. But because my heart does. Her breath caught painfully. His next words shattered her. And if you choose freedom over me, I will bear it. I will walk away. The world tilted. Aurelia stumbled back, magic flaring. Silver light rippled across her arms, bursting like tiny stars. The ground beneath them vibrated. Ken's eyes widened. Aurelia, what's happening? I don't know, she gasped. It's been growing ever since I left the capital. Her veins glowed brighter. Her fingertips sparked. The very air bent around her. Ken rose slowly, gaze filled with awe and fear. This isn't wolf magic. Aurelia shook her head. No. It's something older. A pulse of power burst from her chest, silent but devastating. The entire ravine echoed with the shockwave. Rogues cried out. Wolves dropped to their knees. Even Cale staggered. Only Ken stayed upright, pushed back a few steps but refusing to fall. Aurelia trembled violently. Ken, I can't. He reached her in an instant, hands cupping her face. Look at me. Breathe. His touch steadied her magic instantly. Aurelia inhaled sharply. Why does your touch calm it? Cairn's throat bobbed. Because whatever you are, I was born to anchor it. Her heart nearly stopped. Cale shouted from the cliff, Aurelia! Step away from him. Cairn didn't release her. Don't. Not yet. Her magic flickered. Her pulse raced. Her voice trembled. I don't know who to be. A queen. A rogue. A mate. Cairn whispered, be the woman who chooses. Aurelia's eyes burned. Because for the first time, she finally could. The entire ravine buzzed with unstable energy. Wolves whispered Aurelia's name like it was both a warning and a prophecy. Rogues stared at her with a mix of wonder and fear. Cairn's warriors, gathered at the outskirts of the ravine, watched her with reverence as if she were an omen walking on 2 feet. And Aurelia stood frozen between 2 worlds. Between 2 futures. Her veins still glowed faintly, a soft silver shimmer beneath her skin. The magic pulsed in slow waves, reacting to her confusion, her fear, her longing. Every breath she took felt charged, alive, with the power that had burst from her moments earlier. Cairn watched her closely, as if afraid she might collapse, or vanish. Cale pushed through the crowd, fury blazing in his amber eyes. What the hell was that? He snapped. You're glowing like a moonstorm and he pointed a sharp finger at Cairn, is the reason your magic spun out of control. Cairn's jaw tightened. I didn't force anything. You didn't need to, Cale growled. Your mere presence disturbs her. And your ambition clouds your judgment, Cairn shot back. Oh, please, Cale scoffed. You think your title matters out here? You're in rogue territory, Your Majesty. Stand down, Aurelia said quietly. Both men fell silent. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried power. Aurelia looked at Cale first. You're not wrong to be concerned. My magic is unstable. But Cairn didn't cause this. Cale frowned. Then what did? Aurelia pressed a trembling hand against her chest. It's been building since the bond broke. Rejecting him didn't sever it, it fractured something older. Something inside me. Cairn's brow furrowed. Your lineage. I don't know my lineage, she whispered. Cale's expression softened. Just a fraction. Then we find out. Cairn stepped forward. Aurelia, let's leave this place. My court scholars, my seers. No, Cale cut in sharply. She stays here. She stays where she chooses, Cairn growled. Aurelia's magic flared in response to their tension. The earth beneath her cracked with a faint silver line. Enough. Both men froze. Aurelia met Cairn's gaze. I will not be taken to your palace. Pain flickered across his face. Then she turned to Cale. But I am not your trophy either. Cale stiffened. Aurelia exhaled slowly. Both of you will stop deciding where I belong. Silence. Then Cairn lowered his head, not in defeat, but respect. As you command. Cale crossed his arms, jaw ticking. What now, then? Aurelia looked at the ravine, the wild stone walls, the fires, the rogue wolves watching her as if they already knelt. I need to understand my power. And the rogues are the only ones who don't fear it. Cale smirked in triumph. Cairn stepped closer, voice low. Then let me help you train. Cale barked a laugh. You? Train a rogue queen? Cairn didn't answer him. His eyes, those molten gold eyes, were locked on Aurelia alone. Your magic calms when I'm near, he said. You don't have to choose me, Aurelia. But don't deny yourself the stability your power needs. Aurelia swallowed. He wasn't wrong. Her magic responded to him in ways she couldn't explain, steadying, centering, anchoring. Cale scowled. He has an ulterior motive. Ken didn't deny it. My motive is honesty. I want her safe. Aurelia lifted her hand. The air went still. Both of you will help me train. They stared at her, stunned. Kale recovered first. You want us to work together? Yes, she said. If I am to be anything, a queen, a mate, a free woman, I must understand what I am. Ken's voice softened. You already know what you are. Aurelia looked at him sharply. Don't tell me. He smiled faintly. Then let me show you. Kale rolled his eyes. Gods help us. Aurelia stepped into the training circle Kale had carved into the ravine floor. The earth still sparkled from her earlier power surge. Rogues crowded around the edge, whispering. Ken and Kale stood opposite each other, two alpha-born predators forced into reluctant alliance. The tension between them was thick enough to choke on. Start simple, Kale said. Call your magic. Aurelia closed her eyes. The silver light inside her stirred instantly, too quickly, rushing toward the surface like a flood breaking its dam. Her breath hitched. The world swayed. Ken stepped forward immediately. Slow. You're drawing too much. His hand brushed her back lightly. Her magic steadied. Her breathing evened. Kel cursed under his breath. Of course he's your anchor. Ken ignored him. Again. Aurelia inhaled deeply. This time the magic rose gently, like silk instead of fire. A soft glow enveloped her hands. Sparks danced around her fingertips. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Kale circled her slowly. That's not wolf magic. Or witchcraft. Or fae. Aurelia's voice trembled. Then what am I? Ken's gaze fixed on her arms, where symbols, faint, ancient, glowed beneath her skin. These marks, they look like the sigils of the Moonborn. Kale staggered. Impossible. The Moonborn bloodline died centuries ago. Ken stepped closer. Unless one survived. Aurelia's heartbeat stumbled. Moonborn. Ken nodded. Beings touched directly by the moon goddess. Neither wolf nor witch. Something more. Kale exhaled slowly. A moonborn queen. Aurelia's knees nearly buckled. I'm not. You are, Ken whispered. That's why the bond felt different. Why your rejection didn't kill it. Why your magic responds to mine. His voice lowered. We're tied by more than fate. Kel growled softly. Don't twist prophecy into romance. Ken snapped back, this isn't romance. It's truth. Aurelia raised her hands, silver light swirling stronger. Stop. Both men went silent. Her magic pulsed outward, filling the ravine like moonlight. It wasn't chaotic this time, it was controlled. Elegant. Powerful. Kel stared in awe. You're stabilizing it. Ken's voice softened. You're becoming who you were meant to be. Aurelia opened her eyes slowly. And the world shifted. Every rogue wolf knelt, unbidden. Kale sank to one knee, eyes wide. Ken didn't kneel. But he bowed his head, deeply, reverently. Aurelia's breath caught. What are you doing? She whispered. Kale's voice broke with certainty. We kneel before our queen. Aurelia's heart pounded violently. No, she breathed. I'm not your queen. Ken lifted his gaze, molten and unwavering. Not yet. Aurelia staggered back, overwhelmed. Kale reached for her arm. Aurelia. But her magic reacted, too fast, too strong. A shockwave burst from her, sending Kale sliding back, warriors stumbling. Ken moved through the blast unharmed, grabbing her shoulders before she collapsed. Easy. Easy. Her breath trembled. Ken. I don't know how to control this. He cupped her face gently. Then let me help you, he whispered. Not as your king. Not as your mate. But as the man who refuses to let you face this alone. Her eyes burned. Her magic dimmed. And for the first time, Aurelia didn't fight the bond's steady pulse. She let herself feel it. Just for one heartbeat. Night settled over the ravine like a velvet shroud. Torches burned low. Shadows pulled beneath jagged stone. The air hummed with a tension so thick even the wolves were silent. News of Aurelia's magic, and the moonborn sigils glowing beneath her skin, had spread through the rogue camp like wildfire. Some wolves knelt when she passed. Some touched their foreheads reverently. And some stared in fear, whispering myths of moonborn queens who could command armies with a single breath, or destroy kingdoms with a heartbeat. Aurelia sat alone near the cliff edge, the moon reflecting on her skin like liquid silver. Her magic simmered beneath the surface, restless but not wild. Controlled, but barely. Footsteps approached. She didn't need to turn. Cairn's presence washed over her before he spoke, a steady warmth, an anchor made of gold and gravity. You're avoiding me, he murmured. She let the silence stretch. Cairn sat beside her, far enough not to touch, close enough to feel the bond's faint pull. I'm not avoiding you, she said finally. You're terrified, he corrected softly. She inhaled sharply. Of you. No, he whispered. Of what you are becoming. Her eyes burned. I didn't ask for any of this. I know. She swallowed. Kael wants me to claim the rogue crown. To lead them. Cairn nodded. They would follow you without question. That's the problem, she whispered. I don't know how to lead anyone. He turned to her. Leadership isn't a birthright. It's a choice. She looked away. And you, she said quietly, what do you want? Cairn's jaw tightened. What I've always wanted. And what is that? He exhaled shakily. For you to live. For you to choose your own destiny. Even if it doesn't include me. Her heart twisted painfully. She stood abruptly. I can't talk about this now. Cairn rose too. Aurelia. But a low rumble shook the ground. The torches flickered violently. Wolves shouted in alarm. A wave of dark magic rippled through the ravine, cold, ancient, and wrong. Aurelia's skin prickled, her bones vibrating with the familiar but unwelcome sensation from the ritual night. Kael sprinted toward them, eyes wide. Aurelia, something's coming. The earth cracked. A portal of shadow tore open near the training circle. A figure emerged, tall, cloaked, radiating an aura that made even alpha wolves whimper. Cairn stepped protectively in front of Aurelia. Kael bared his teeth. The figure spoke, voice dripping malice. So the moonborn Hay lives after all. Aurelia's blood froze. Who are you? The figure removed its hood. A man with moon-pale eyes and silver hair, his skin marked with corrupted runes. I am Varyon, he said. Last of the Darkborn, the bloodline the moon goddess abandoned. And you, Aurelia, belong to me. Cairn growled, voice shaking with fury. She belongs to no one. Varyon smiled cruelly. You think the bond makes her yours? Foolish king. The moonborn were created as vessels. Their power is meant to be claimed. Aurelia stepped forward. No. My power is mine. Varyon lifted a hand. Her magic surged violently, ripping from her control. She gasped, falling to her knees as silver light erupted around her. Ken caught her before she hit the ground. Aurelia. Varyon's eyes gleamed. See? You cannot control it. But I can. Kael lunged at him. Varyon flicked a wrist. Kale flew backward, slamming into stone. Aurelia's magic roared, swirling into a storm. She clutched Cairn's tunic, trembling. I can't stop it. Look at me, Cairn said, cupping her face. Breathe. Focus on my voice. Her magic flickered, responding to him again. Varyon sneered. Pathetic. You anchor her because she is incomplete. A moonborn queen needs no wolf. Aurelia's eyes snapped open, glowing brilliant silver. Enough. The word was a command. The magic stabilized instantly. Aurelia rose to her feet, power swirling around her in a silent storm. You're wrong, she said. I am not incomplete. Varyon tilted his head mockingly. Then prove it. He unleashed a blast of dark energy. Aurelia raised her hand instinctively. The attack dissolved against her palm like smoke. Gasps echoed across the ravine. Cairn stepped back, awe breaking across his face. Aurelia. Her magic spiraled faster, controlled, powerful, no longer wild. Symbols along her skin glowed fiercely. Varyon hissed. Impossible. Aurelia walked toward him, slow, steady, queen-like. You said my power was meant to be claimed. Varyon smirked. Yes. By me. No, Aurelia's voice rang like moonlight on steel. My power is meant to be chosen. A sphere of silver formed between her palms, pure moonborn energy. It pulsed with her spirit, her will, her freedom. Varyon raised a shield. It shattered in one strike. Her attack hit him squarely in the chest, blasting him back through the portal. He screamed as he was swallowed by darkness. The portal collapsed. Silence. Then. Rogues dropped to their knees. Wolves bowed their heads. Kale rose slowly, wiping blood from his mouth, staring at her with stunned admiration. You just defeated a darkborn heir. Cairn approached her cautiously, reverently. Aurelia. She turned to him. The bond, weak, fractured, flared suddenly bright, alive, whole. Aurelia inhaled sharply. It healed. Cairn nodded, voice trembling. Because you chose your power. And in choosing yourself, you finally opened the part of you that could choose me too. Her heart lodged in her throat. Cairn. I won't ask for a crown, he said softly. I won't ask for your throne. Or your allegiance. Or your magic. His voice broke slightly. Just ask me to stay. Tears filled her eyes. She stepped closer. I don't want a king. He swallowed hard. Her hand touched his chest. But I want you. Cairn's breath shuddered. Aurelia raised her voice so the entire ravine could hear. I choose my fate. I choose my freedom. She turned, meeting Kale's unwavering gaze. I choose to lead the rogues. Kale nodded slowly, a smirk of pride forming. Then rise, rogue queen. Aurelia faced Cairn again. And I choose this bond. Not by prophecy. Not by force. Not by destiny. Her palm pressed over his heartbeat. But because my soul recognizes yours. Cairn closed his eyes, exhaling a sound that shook him. The bond ignited fully, a brilliant silver-gold light weaving between them. The ravine glowed. Wolves howled. Kale laughed in disbelief. Cairn opened his eyes. Aurelia, my queen. She smiled softly. Not your queen. The queen. He smirked. Then let the world kneel. She rejected the Alpha King, defied the moon, conquered the Darkborn, and rose, not as his Luna, but as the queen fate never saw coming.